1 hour, 14 minutes, and 8 seconds. That's how long the children waited and the teachers waited in rooms 111 to be rescued.
It's really hard to wrap your head around. Children and teachers trapped with a gunman for more than an hour, and police could have ended it within minutes. By the time they finally walked into that classroom, 19 children and 2 teachers were dead. New details came out during a public hearing. The DPS director called the police response a failure. Suzanne Bruner with us this morning. Suzanne, what we learned about this timeline of those shootings yesterday, I think all of us were disturbed.
Yeah, I believe so too, Kara. You know, several people testified yesterday, and that includes Texas Public Safety Director Steve McCraw, who said authorities had enough officers on the scene to stop the gunman 3 minutes after he entered the building. McCraw also called the police response an abject failure. So police had enough manpower, they had enough firepower. They had all been trained to go in, but none of them did. McCraw said children and teachers waited more than an hour to be rescued, and as they waited, McCraw said police also waited for rifles that were already there, shields that had already arrived, plus a key that they didn't even need because the door to the classroom where the 18-year-old gunman went through was not locked because no one checked it.
The door was unsecured, and we've gone back and checked in our interviews, and did anybody touch the door and try it? No one had.
I don't believe there's any training in the world that could have helped this incident, Commander.
During the hearing, much of the blame was on Uvalde Schools Police Chief Pete Arredondo, who you see right here. Now, McCraw said investigators have not been able to re-interview him. It was also brought up that DPS officers were in that hallway too. McCraw was asked why his officers didn't go in themselves, and he responded, "It's dangerous to self-employ." Kara.
Wow, okay, so the hearing revealed authorities had all the tools, the manpower they needed. The minute they got to the scene, the door was open. Did anyone even try to go in?
Yeah, so we had learned that one officer did try to. His wife, Eva Morales, was a teacher. She had called to tell him she was shot. Now, according to McCraw, as the officer tried to move forward in that hallway, he was detained, and then they took away his gun, then escorted him off the scene. So we do know one officer tried to get in there.
Wow. Doesn't make sense to many of us. All right, thank you, Suzanne. We also heard from the head of the TEA yesterday about plans to check every exterior door on every school in the state to make sure it does lock.
Yeah, DPS Director Steve McCraw did take us through the timeline of that shooting minute by minute. He says it was clear from the start there were multiple failures. At 11:33 in the morning, the gunman walked into Robb Elementary School and started shooting. About 3 minutes later, 3 Uvalde police officers enter the school. 5 seconds after that, 5 more officers go inside, including School Police Chief Pete Arredondo. McCraw says at that point, there were enough armed officers to take down the shooter. At 11:41, a dispatcher asks if the door was locked. One Uvalde police officer replies, "I am not sure, but we have Halligan to break it." The first ballistic shield arrives at 11:52, capable of stopping rifle rounds. A minute later, someone asks if there are children inside. At 11:56, more officers say, if there's kids in there, we need to go in there. More ballistic shields arrive at 12:11 p.m. A SWAT team arrives 6 minutes later. Chief Arredondo says, tell them to wait. No one comes in. 29 minutes go by. At 12:46, Arredondo says, if y'all are ready to do it, you do it. At 12:50, Border Patrol officers breach the classroom and kill the shooter. 1 hour, 14 minutes, and 8 seconds after the gunman entered the school.